Rocket fuel in my veins, no time to rest. Space Quest Roger, Wilco put me to the test. Sarien encounter, lasers at my chest. Running from foe, Hawk and
Light years from Earth's solar system, the people of the galaxy Ernon had been struggling to maintain the precious balance of life. The sun of Ernon is slowly dying. The planets grow cold, food is no longer plentiful, life will soon become impossible to sustain. The scientific community of Xenon devised a plan to convert one of Xenon's lifeless planets into a new sun. The effort was centered around the development of a device called the Star Generator. The Star Generator would be capable of igniting an otherwise useless ball of planet into a raging ball of flame. The expedition set aboard the starship Arcata to successfully complete the development testing of the Star Generator. The Arcata is now returning triumphantly to Xenon with the fully operational Star Generator. You serve as a member of the Arcata as a janitor. That's right, a janitor. And not a very good one. You would probably have been sacked and replaced were the Arcata not millions of kilometers from Xenon. As we join our story, you have just completed one of your famous on-shift naps in one of the janitorial storage closets. You are startled by the sound of an alarm. It is followed by an urgent voice which warns that the Arcata has been boarded by unknown intruders. It ends abruptly. Alright, so we're going to play through Space Quest 1, the Sarien encounter. This is about as far away from a blind playthrough as you can get. Alright, just have to wait for there he is. The door opens and a man you recognize as one of the lab scientists enters. He appears to be injured. After only a few steps, he slumps to the floor. Well, by all means, help the man. A large laser hole has been burned in his uniform through which you can see previously unexposed tissue. Struggling painfully, he rises up on one elbow. He tells you that the Arcata is under attack, that the Star Generator is in danger. You had better leave if you value your life. He looks towards the shelf full of cartridges and utters the word astral body and then settles to the floor lifeless. All right. All right. So you do have to come back into the screen. You can't just wander on through it, which leads to quite possibly the biggest dead man walking. Technically, you can get all the way to the end of the game, but without knowing a code, and you can't get the best ending because you don't have the data. So if we tried to look at this here, we get ourselves dead pretty quick. Oh, this is a look around game. This is another hallway aboard the Arcata. There is an elevator door nearby. Search that body. You search the body of your crewmate and find a key card. Well, by all means, take that card. Okay. Gonna go in here. We don't have to go in here, but we want to get some of the flavor text. This is the Star Generator Development Laboratory. Due to your incredibly low security clearance, you have never been allowed access to this room. There's no star generator here to look at. There's a screen back here. Self-destruct mechanism has been armed. Evacuate the ship immediately. So we got 15 minutes to get out of here. Peering through the large observation windows, you take into the immense panorama of space and stars. Will they show up? No. Got some RNG here from the Sariens, which we haven't even seen yet, so. You are in the central control area of the Arcata. The reactor domes pulsate irregularly if they have been tampered with. This does not look good. Through the window just above the control console, you can see down into the vehicle bay below. Look at that console. On the console by the window, there are two buttons marked Open Bay Door and Close Bay Door. Well, push. Open Bay Door. Nope. You slide the keycard into the slot. You hear an audible click. You take the keycard back. Bay doors are open. Alright, so we changed into our flight suit, and we got the gadget, which is a dialect translator. I think you can look at it. Gadget. Written on the electronic gadgets are the word dialect translator. On one end is a dial and a light, currently dim. Look at the console. The console is adorned with many status indicators. One button on the right is marked airlock. Push airlock then. Alright, so that's it for the Arcata. Now we just got to get out of here. Looking at the console, you see a button marked platform. There also see some gauges which don't interest you. Push platform. There's now an escape pod here. I don't know if I'm going to show all the deaths or not. Maybe we will. Get in that pod. Shut the door. Wear the seatbelt. Push power. Look around. You're sitting in the pilot's seat of the escape pod facing towards the window. There is a dark console before you and seatbelt straps at your side. Confused as what you should do, you wish you would have paid more attention during crew orientation. Push that power button. Oh. Pull the throttle. Congratulations, you have narrowly escaped an explosive death. Don't start patting yourself on the back just yet, though you are now traveling aimlessly through the cosmos. Alright, push the auto nav button. The monitor flashes. You study it to see what new information is being displayed. Planet Corona. Temperature of 40 degrees C. That is hot even for a guy like me. Alright. The autonav system is locked onto a small planet of Corona, and the pod has begun its approach. Nothing to do now but hang on. So, it's named after the two guys from Andromeda's favorite beer while they were programming this game. Yeah, the cat is now causing a ruckus here. After a skull-jarring landing, you peer through the shattered viewing port out into the desert landscape. A feeling of utter desolation settles in. You're in a fine mess now, Roger Wilco. You're inside the escape pod. It appears that more fragile devices were damaged severely upon the impact of landing. A survival kit has broken loose from someplace. Well, by all means, take the kit. Easy to miss. Open that door. The door has been permanently opened by the impact of the landing. That's a great feature there. Remove that seatbelt. Alright, now on to one of the more infamous dead ends here. The glass. So if you look around, that's not how you spell around. You seem to be located in an incredibly remote area. There's a thrashed escape pod here. But if you move here, nope. Look at that shuttle. The shuttle seems to be semi-destroyed. A glimmering catches your eye. Upon closer inspection, you see a piece of highly reflective glass that is broken out of the pod window. Which you have no indication. No visual, no nothing. And if you're not standing in front of the pod, you can't see it, so... Alright, so there's a couple ways you can go through the next bit of this, but we're going to go with the way that might score us some more points. This game is pretty linear compared to some of the other ones. There's a few ways to do a couple puzzles, but... Suddenly you see a large metal sphere falling out of the sky, a Sarien spider droid. Upon touching down with the planet's surface, it sprouts legs and begins the search for you. You recall from an article in Space Piston magazine that this droid is designed to seek out organic life forms and self-destruct when contact is made. So the Sarians must have noticed that we escaped. You are high atop a rocky plateau near two halves of an arch. The desert below seems to stretch to infinity. So, kind of like that famous arch in the west. There's a bunch of famous arches. All right. Oh, no. There it goes. This is one end of what appears to be a large cavern. The only way to go is to the left. There is a rock nearby. Whenever it mentions anything in any of these games, you take it. Take that rock. So if you don't have the glass, you're basically just done for at this point. This is another large complex in the underground. Oh no, this is another large chamber in the underground complex. There's a path on the back wall from which is not accessible from the bottom. Look at the obvious. Great. Great. You're not close enough. The grate is made of metal and seems to be fastened securely to the floor. It is too dark to see down through the grate. There is, however, an odd smell emanating from down there. It's always a good sign. Huh? How many times can Roger be eaten by various fauna on planets? Yeah. Look at that steam. There's a geyser cone here. It is rhythmically spewing hot steam. Put the rock in the hole. This is a slightly smaller chamber in the underground complex. There's a path above which is not accessible from here. There's a pool on the right side. Now, I have a vague memory of sticking my head in this pool and coming out without a head, but I don't remember how to... Maybe that was in a different version, or maybe it's just completely... What is that Mandela effect here? Oh. Not used to the autosave feature. Oh, it's a very irritating noise. I think this is your Xenon survival kit. It contains a Xenon army knife and a can of dehydrated water. So now if you drink the water, you place your lips to the nozzle and dry. Fluid, not very reasonable facsimile of water, is released slowly. While tasting slightly terrible, it quenches your thirst, at least for the time being. You're in a large room in the cavern. There is a pathway above. At the south end of the room, there are two odd-looking units emitting beams of light. So you cannot go back from this point. So if you didn't pick up that glass and you came down here, oh, I forgot to read that. Yeah, well, you're basically done. Like you're at a dead end. This one's pretty infamous with its dead end scene or sequences, or the dead man walking. And this part I always remember, and I hated this part as a kid. From tiny cracks in the ceiling, several drops succumb to the influence of gravity. Acid drips. Let's see if we can make it through without dying. Although we should for the death montage, but... You turn the dial to the right. The light begins to glow. That is this guy. And let's see what else we got. We got the glass. This is your handy dandy Xenon army knife. It's a guy who carries a knife every single day. The Swiss Army knives are not good. This is a data storage cartridge. On it are the words astral body formation, the unknown, the untold story. Key card. This is a cylinder of dehydrated water. At the top of the cylinder is a regulator and a short nozzle. On the side there is a label. The label says Pelvitron's dehydrated water. All you add is air. Makes 10 gallons. Directions to use: simply drink from the nozzle. Metered amounts will be dispensed. Caution: do not attempt to open or rupture. Misuse could result in personal injury and or flash flooding. Out of 10 gallons. What else we got? Survival kit. Alright, now on to the... Speak to the Coronians. As you enter the room, you find yourself surrounded by darkness. Suddenly, you become aware of the fact that you cannot move or speak. A strange, unknown force has taken over. A massive holographic image appears before you. You sense that you are the only life form in the area. See, if you have found your way to my hallowed chamber. I have been monitoring your travels on our planet. It appears that you are up the proverbial estuary without a means of locomotion. You are in obvious need of transportation. Let us see if you are worthy of our assistance. On the surface lives a beast called Orad. He proves to be a bit of an annoyance on occasion. Dispose of him and bring back evidence of your conquest. Only then will I deal with your plight. Good luck, strange one. Where's the spider droid? Alright, now we had to take a quick little detour to film a couple of deaths. This one's gonna be tricky. All right, here we go. The cave interior now features a lovely new jagged metal liberated entrails motif that stands proof, not something even an all-text adventure would attempt at that description. Alright, so look around. You're in the slimiest of caves. The odor here is less than desirable. Kind of makes you wonder why it's slimy, given the fact we're in a very arid location. But take that orat part. You reach down and take some of the orat part in your hand. Some of it oozes to fill the space between your fingers. Gross. The orat part seems to consist of a spiny piece of bone with a small amount of somewhat less solid material clinging to one end. I still need to find out where that asteroid death is at. Maybe it's one over and down? Alright, so now back up to go meet with the Coronians. Oh, I never did the one in the hole. I don't know if we can die of dehydration, but because we still have our water. Tear a piece off the plants. I think that was maybe a part of a puzzle that never got added in. He can take this little chunk of plant, but it doesn't seem to ever come into play here. Alright, so we're going to make our way back and see if we die of dehydration on our way there. Because that's a death I'm not entirely sure would happen, but walk across the old collapsing bridge. I don't know if it counts screen transitions to see how long before we die of dehydration. Doesn't seem to. Maybe we'll cut that part out. Probably not, though. So from what I understand, this game was kind of a departure for Sierra in the the two guys, they had worked on other games and they wanted something a bit more less fantasy, and they went ahead and programmed a couple of the rooms before showing it to, I believe it was Ken Williams, and kind of like the beginning of the Matrix, where they just kind of like went ahead and did it, and the results kind of proved them. All right. Again, the massive holographic image appears before you. So you have returned. Fortunately, there is much more to you than meets the eye. Transformers reference, really. Drop before me the proof of Orat's defeat for my inspection. Well, drop that part. You drop the Orat part to the ground. The vision is silent. You are startled by a rumbling, and suddenly an oddly shaped door comes into view. It opens slowly. You hear a voice, different this time, beckoning you to step forward. Can we take... Oh, we can't. Not allowed to type on that screen. Please don't be alarmed. We intend no harm. We are a peaceful race. Evidence to the contrary. We are cautious, however. Others don't share our way of life. Welcome to Corona. You're standing in the power generation facility of our underground settlement. All power here is produced by steam. That is unimportant to you, however. We have promised you transportation. This is a skimmer. It hovers approximately half a meter above the traveling surface. This is very important because of Grell. The Grell and his like dwell in the caves below the sand. If you stand on the surface too long, you chance becoming a rare moist meal for him. The skimmer is programmed to take you to the settlement on the other side of Corona called Uliant's Flats. You can make further travel arrangements there. I'm sorry this is all we can offer, but I hope your trip is a safe one. Board the skimmer when you are ready to depart. Good luck, strange one. This place is most interesting indeed, a mixture of both old and new technology. One side is the chamber is a primitive steam generator. Its pistons pounding rhythmically turn steam into useful energy. On the other side is what appears to be a computer console. Obviously, we're going to have to use the computer console, but I mean, really, most of our current electricity is made just from steam. Whether it's coal or natural gas or even nuclear. All it is just spinning the turbine. So I don't know what pistons would have to do with that, but old steam engines or steam motors used to use pistons, but yeah. Even to this day, we're just using steam. Alright, so we need to go use this console. Insert the cartridge. The cartridge snaps neatly into the slot and the screen comes alive. Whoever shall read this, my name is Dr. Volhall. I am a scientist with the Star Generator Project aboard the Star Lab Arcata. We have successfully completed development and testing of the Star Generator. During this time, I have come to believe that our progress has been monitored by others. I fear that the Sariens may have learned of our mission. If my fears prove true, the Star Generator and the people of our universe are in serious jeopardy. The Star Generator is a miraculous device. Used as intended, it will help preserve life for eons to come. Used as a device for evil, it would cause the destruction of millions of lives and enslave those who oppose the Sarians. Encoded within this cartridge are the plans and the specifications for the construction of the star generator. Should any disaster befall the star generator project, scientists would be able to create a duplicate of the star generator with this information. Please guard this with your life. Return it to the Xenod ruling body quickly as possible. Important note, the star generator is capable of self-destruction with the introduced into the system as a precaution. To activate it, one must enter the code 6858. A 5-minute counter will begin to count down. Beware, anyone within 5 kilometers of the star generator will be in danger once the timer has been initiated. Please be careful and good luck. So take the cartridge. So if you haven't pieced it together, or if I haven't mentioned it, it's just the Genesis device from Star Trek. So, kind of a, which that would have been a fairly new Star Trek movie at the time, but I mean, sure. I mean, they borrow a lot from other franchises as well. But that was the first one here. So this is kind of when Star Space Quest was getting its footholds, because this one isn't very humorous. It does have some dry humor, but it's not the, what we would see later on in the series. Same thing with it borrowing from other franchises. So. All right. You turn the key and suddenly the jet turbines begin to whir. The skimmer begins to shake beneath you. As this platform slowly moves onto the launch tube, you can't help but wonder what you've gotten yourself into this time. Yep, we are in for the infamous arcade sequence, which is in more Space Quest. It's in 1, 3, 4... I don't remember and there's a couple of small mini games at 5, and I don't remember 6. So I think the only one that really misses out on the arcade sequence is 2. So pretty sure. Anyway, let's get this part over with. You nervously hang on. The skimmer rises slowly to the surface of the planet via secret passage. Upon reaching the surface, you throttle up and zoom off into the sunset. The settlement the alien spoke of appears on the horizon. Just gonna save scum our way through this. The VGA version allows you to skip this, which would be nice. I don't like it. It's not a good mini game, but it is kind of part of the experience, right? No time to talk. Nice. This kind of reminds me of those terrible ads you get for the move this way or move that way for the mobile games that are always advertised on like YouTube or whatever. Only nobody would use this as a, hey, you should play Space Quest. Look at how awesome this part is. Phew, you managed. That was pretty intense. You've managed to successfully navigate through the treacherous boulder field. You are quite relieved to see you have reached the settlement. Welcome to Julian's Flats. After a truly stone-crushing journey, you have miraculously arrived safely in Julian's Flats. Just in time, too, because the skimmer's power cell has been drained. It will take some time to recharge itself. This place isn't quite what you had expected. It's semi-bleak at best. Very Tatooine vibes here. So let's get back up to speed here. Say this is a genuine Felton sand skimmer. I've been looking for one just like it. I wonder if you would accept 30 buckazoids. No. Fine, be that way. Oh, I forgot to crash and get the death sequence at the skimmer bit. Take the key. Okay, this is my final offer, sir. I'm only doing it because you look like you need it pretty bad. I'll give you 30 buckazoids and I'll throw in this swell jetpack. I only used it once. It works great in zero gravity. You'll love it. Is a deal, yes or no? Well, this time it's a yes. Glad we could do a business. I'll just take that key. Thank you kindly. I hope your stay in Julian's Flats is an interesting one. And it's immediately recharged, so you can just fly off into space. This is a seedy little place. Galactic riffraff are seated at the bar. The bartender occasionally drops by occasionally to serve them. The band is cranking out some of the more popular tunes in the quadrant. There's a slot machine standing near the bar. You notice a sweeper in the lower corner of the room. It must get messy here. No one seems to notice or care that you have entered the bar. ZZ Top. On the stage are two heavily bearded gents and a relatively clean-shaven drummer. They're one of the hottest bands in the quadrant. Isn't ZZ Top the one without a beard named Beard? Alright, so we're gonna do this part. So we're just gonna kind of speed this part up. We will show a death real quick, so let's go with okay, give me some skulls here. Luck's turn has cost you dearly. As life seeps away, you long for the simpler days aboard the Arcata. Alright. So I'll include the death in the old montage if I do a montage. And we are going to, we'll say, get through this. RNG is kind of annoying. Sorry, there seems to be circuit failure. To reimburse, send your claim to the Jipboid Novelties. Allow 2 decades. Alright. We are going to go and purchase all of the items we need. Should we go over here? Howdy, bucko. Can I interest you in one of the finest little used spaceships in the galaxy? You look like a man of discerning taste. Used car salesman vibes here. Well, this unique little unit never been flown over Mach 3. It was owned by a little old lady from Glanstrandrum. You have to fly it to believe it. And she can be yours for only 99 buckazoids. Buy that ship. I'll tell you, I think you made a wise decision. She's a beauty. The keys are in her, and if you have any problems, don't hesitate to come back and tell us about them. It's been heck of a pleasure doing business with you. Come back again. Get in the ship. You proudly climb into your new used spacecraft. There is something definitely unique about it. You turn the key excitedly. Well, geez, guys, it seems that it's developed some minor malfunction since we acquired it. We did have a small micrometeoroid shower the other day. That was probably it. As much as I'd like, I can't refund your money, company policy, but it's out of my hands. However, I can give you a 70 buckazoid credit on any other ship in our fine line of used spacecraft. Looks around, see what you like. Nope. I need to know how many I have left. Don't let the appearances fool you. This baby is maybe a relic, a classic, but she's dependable as the day we got her, and that, just think, you'll be the only one in the quadrant with one. I guarantee it. She's a beaut, isn't she? This little baby can do a spin around the planet in just under an hour. Look at the lines in that bodywork. Don't they just make you... They don't make them like this anymore. You know what I mean? She's a real bargain at 185 buckazoids. Of course, minus your 70 buckazoid credits, that would be 115 buckazoids. Alright, we'll go get our droid. Oh, I should have bought the actual... oh, no, I don't have enough money for the ship, I don't think. We're going to take a second here. Droids BS. It was originally Droids RS, but they got a cease and desist letter from a certain toy retailer here in the US. So I remember it as being Droids RS because I had the this is the one you get off of I think this is from GOG. Anyway, the one that I originally played had Droids RS. Cat is meowing loudly. Of course he is. Welcome to Droids BS, the finest emporium for mechanized beings in the quadrant. We have a complete line of droids for, well, any purpose unimaginable. Well, almost any. All of your top of the line. But I suppose you would probably be interested in our sale items. Please walk this way. What about this guy? We call this one the Peacemaker. It's used primarily in security in the crime situation. It's capable of apprehending, trying, sentencing, and punishing the offender on the spot. That's swift and effective. Only 368 buckazoids. This compact unit is often used for mining. It's quite short and stocky and quite strong for its size. It's designed to work in areas in which may be hazardous to non-mechanized beings. Yep, we already got the piece, and then this one I don't think is for sale. This one is a collector's item, one of the very finest droids ever built. Someday, that rare piece is going to bring me a small fortune at auction. It's not for sale. This model is ideal for flight systems operations. It will pilot any modern fighter or cruiser, and it's one of the most experienced droids we carry. I ask only 45 buckazoids for it, 36 with a coupon. I got it for some gambling type who's required to pay up or perish. There's a little minor hint that this is the actual one we're supposed to buy. Oh, I see you bear one of those coupons. Oh, well, you shall receive 20% off any of my quoted prices. The coupon was actually an actual physical coupon that was in the box when you bought it. It was printed on some colored paper or whatever, but it was an actual physical. There's also one for the bar, too. Buy that droid. Using your discount coupon, you have made a relatively decent purchase of a pre-owned sale item. Look at that pathfinding at its finest. There we go. Hello, Ping. I am model QR7 pilot droid. I have navigated many different ships to many different worlds. Buzz click. And I have acquired much flight knowledge from my travels. I am most anxious to serve you, sir. Click. I hope you find my services satisfactory. But that's my smart-looking flight suit. That's a smart-looking flight suit you have on. I'm sure it feels good to be out of that stuffy metal market. Click. I thought I was doomed to sit there and rust away. People say I talk too much. Do you think I talk too much? I don't think I talk too much. Beep. I'm going to shut up now. I actually kind of like the droid. You're at the back end of the bar at the southeast end of Unions Flats. Look at that pile. There's a strange pile of very fine white powder here. Its origin puzzles you, but it has a strange burnt smell to it. It appears to be in Sarien. You're a little rusty on your Sarien, but it appears to say Xenon Bites. So, I don't think I mentioned this is Julian's Flats. I never got the joke until I was way too old. But it is a fart joke. Flatulence. Well, there's a man with a good eye. Here's the keenest little scrambler in the hemisphere. Top of the line. Handles like a charm. Perfect for cruising the asteroid fields. She's got all the thrust a guy could need, and I'll tell you, she's an outright steal at 214 buckazoids. With your 70 buckazoid credit, that would come to, 144 buckazoids. I don't even know how many I have. I do not have enough. Oh. Accidentally turned the sound off there. So back to gambling here. Be real quick. What'll it be? I've got beer and it's 2 Bokazoids. Alright, so the other coupon was for free beer, and I think it's like 5 Bokazoids. Oh, you have one of those coupons. Here's your 5 Bokazoids and your free beer. Enjoy. Oh, here, let's take a look at the beer. It's a vessel of that acrid yet buoyant Coronian ale. The beer tastes like carbonated Zipple sweat. However, considering recent events, you could learn to love it. You have to drink at the bar in order to get the coordinates. As you sip another one of the odd brews, you overhear someone at the bar speaking. There I was cruising through Sector HH. That's the sector we need. When I spot this blip on the scanner. So I head towards it. You see, and right there in front of me sits the Delta. And it's just sitting there, and my heart starts hyper-warping on me. So I figure milliseconds are numbered, and all I can think of doing is getting my craft out of there. So I'm reaching for the throttle. And all of a sudden, this incredible flash of light, you see. And just like that, this little planetoid explodes into a ball of fire. I tell you, I've never seen anything like it. I mauled the throttle and got out of there quick, you bet. We haven't seen the Blues Brothers yet, so we're going to have to come back. No one here seems willing to acknowledge your presence. Maybe they're not too fond of humanoids. I think one of the best things in Space Quest 4 is you get to come back here and they make fun of you for being in 256 colors. So there still is a graphical racism, I guess, or discrimination. Say there, pal, it's come to my attention that you're in the market for some transportation. I may be able to help. If you'd follow me, I'd like to show you a fine little piece of machinery that'll knock your eyes out. Obviously, we are not going to follow the mugger. We're going to go buy the mugger's ship. I tell you, I think you've made a wise decision. She's a beauty. The keys are in her. If you have any problems, don't hesitate to come back and tell us about them. It's been a heck of a pleasure doing business with you. Oh, by the way, you're going to need a droid to help you fly that thing. Oh, well, good luck. Come again. The droid that's standing literally right next to you. Climb that ladder. Look in the ship. Look at the console. You look inside of the ship and notice there's no controls here. Just a button marked load. Tiny must have been serious when he said that you would need a droid to fly it. Push load. What sector? Alright. Sector HH it is. I will proceed with course entry. Hey, wait a minute. Where do you think you're going with my ship? So that's the mugger. He sold us the mugger ship. Well done, Roger Wilco. You've managed to overcome the elements of Corona, from the endless deserts and the spider dreads to the obnoxious salesmen and bad booze. Yes, the sand in your boots shall forever serve as a reminder of this forsaken planet, but you should feel proud. But even now, destiny awaits with an even greater challenge. Hang on, sir. We've headed into an asteroid field. The chances of hitting an asteroid in an asteroid field are astronomically small. But always in fiction, they always make it out like you have to, like this. Or, Star Wars. We have established visual contact with a ship of Sarien origin, says the droid. The name Delta is confirmed. You might consider the fact that we are in danger by just being anywhere near this ship. I hope you didn't waste money on the extended warranty when you purchased me. I will slow our approach and stand off at a safe distance. So you had the Arcada, which kind of looked like a space lab, and then there's this thing, which looks like a ray gun. So just the visual storytelling there. You're now wearing the jetpack. A small control linkage snaps into the back of your helmet, allowing you to control it merely by focusing on where you want to go. Nice roads. Before leaving the safety of your ship, you instruct the little droid to set a course for Xenon, where you will be rendezvousing later, provided, of course, that you are successful in carrying out your mission. Once again, you are on your own. Oh, I suppose we should look around to get that flavor text. You're floating in space just outside the biggest darn spaceship you've ever seen. You see a door. Perhaps it's a way in. You grasp the large handle and twist, noting a rather significant amount of pain being registered. You are extremely grateful to hear a click. As you enter the Sarien ship, the airlock seals itself behind you. You try to open it again without success. It appears that you are stuck here. Bleep, gurgle, pop apologizes the strange robot as he pushes you aside. Oh. Okay, cat. Jeez. Cat's causing trouble here. You're standing in a large empty room within the Sarien ship. One wall is a vent. There's some sort of trunk on the floor. Now here you can do this part in two different ways. Go away, cat. You're being kind of a pain in the butt. You can either get in the trunk and they will carry you to your next destination, or you can crawl up into that vent. We're going to go for more points. And you get to see more doing this. It looks like a maze, but it really isn't. There's only two places you can go. You start here and you go up one and over one. That's it. So there are other screens, but they're exactly the same. So your nose has just been redesigned by your ill-advised advised, attempt to insert it into a closed vent. So kick the vent. It looks like you jarred it loose. Well, by all means, then open it. Look around. You are in the ship's laundry facilities. And yes, this is what you're supposed to do. Well, Roger, it certainly appears though you're about to become all washed up. But apparently the future is all about front-loading washing machines, which are a terrible design, by the way. Aside from the fact that they're hard to reach in the top ones, but that seal has a tendency to fail. But apparently that's the future, at least aboard these. So open the washer. Somehow you manage to survive the rinse cycle. As you emerge from the cleaning unit, you notice that you are dressed in a Sarien battle uniform. What a stroke of genius. Now you can wander throughout the ship without calling attention to yourself. Even though you didn't really mean to. And man, the odds of getting dressed in a... And he washed his helmet too. That's something, right? You're aboard the Sarien spaceship. There are 2 elevators here. Alright, let's talk to this guy. The guard pretends not to notice you. Just as he begins to speak, the Sarien goes, how many, and we're not going to try to pronounce that. Get us canceled. Does it take to seduce a 3-eared female Silva? Oh my god. After a reasonable period of silence at your end, the guard answers his own joke. 2, he does not seem unduly impressed by your lack of laughter. Do you own King's Quest 2? Asked the nosy guy. I just played that, literally last week. Yes. Great response, the guard pondering his interest in... He ponders his interest. You ask, wonder... Yeah. Great response, the guard. Pondering his interest, you ask yourself whether or not this guy is getting a kickback from Sierra Online. Later you realize that this is silly. Why would a Sarien do with money from coarse gold? Oh, what's up with the helmet indoors? Shh, I'm hiding from the boss, figuring it might confuse the guard. Alright. As you pucker your lips and lean in close, you suddenly remember what your mother taught you about Sarians. In a rare moment of wisdom, you decide not to get anything started you're unwilling to finish. You get a point for that. So. Alright, we'll just walk around a couple of these screens just to show them. The bottom one is the actual first screen that we entered in the ship. You're in a hallway. So kind of back to the, how the arcade was broken up into 2 different sections. This one is closed. I don't know if I've ever seen one come through that door. Interesting. Alright. On to the last run here. You are on an elevated walkway inside the enormous chamber. Peering over the railing, you see the stolen star generator. Oh, look in the pocket. In the pocket of this uniform is an alien identification card. Wouldn't it just be an identification card? Anyway, the name on the card is Butston Freem. You wonder if this is a common Sarien name. Kind of wonder if that isn't a reference to... Is that Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy? Ford Prefect? Anyway, let's save here. Get a couple more deaths for the montage. Welcome to the weapons dispensary. I will assist you. Please supply me with your identification card. Give that ID. Your rank allows you to bear one pulse for a unit. Remember, no firing in the ship. Have a nice day. Yes. And then, of course, we have to fire off. The droid explains that although he's not programmed for death, he considers it extremely rude to fire your weapon indoors. He cautions you against doing so again. The grenade drops to the floor, releasing its poisonous gas on the unsuspecting alien. Good shot, Roger Wilco. I don't know if he's dead or if he's just stunned. Alright, we are almost to the end here. My, aren't you one of a clumsy one? Because of your inability to walk without falling on your face, your helmet is now riding the elevator without you. You've blown your cover. The Sarians are sure to shoot first and ask questions later. So now comes the part we gotta be quick on the draw here to fire our pulse ray. That's how I enter every room. Just immediately just start blasting the second you walk in any room. Alright. You have found a remote control device of some sort. It has only one button labeled on and off. Suddenly the force field protecting the star generator disappears. Alright, now you remember that code from the beginning, or from the middle. We are up to that point. Look at that console. Oh yes, actually. detonation cycle has begun. 6858 was the last 4 digits of Sierra's phone number at the time that this game was made, so little useless trivia for you. The star generator has come alive. The heat on the thing is starting to generate, tells you that it's time to blow this taco stand. Than I have here. I forget how this works, but it depends on whether they're supposed to be standing there or if they enter the screen or... There we go. We got them. All right. See, we did get, like, I think a point for that, maybe. And now this opens up. You're in the shuttle launch bay aboard the Sarien ship. You swiftly slip into the sleek ship. Try to say that 3 times fast. I will not. I will make a fool of myself. Look at that console. You frantically search the control console for the launch button. Ah, there it is. Press launch. They're 1 point shy. Awesome. The Delta has been blown to tiny fragments from the force of the star generator's blast. You have saved the lives of millions of your people, not to mention the lives of those in other systems. Don't get a big head. Congratulations, Roger Wilco. You've rid the universe of the evil Sarians and saved your people from certain doom. The star generator technology is safe inside the data cartridge. Now a new star generator can be built and can carry out the original task. You're an all-around hero. You've made it home safely aboard the stolen Sarien craft, where you've encountered a cheering Xenon crowd. They have gathered together for a ceremony in your honor. The ceremony is already in progress. As a token of appreciation, you are presented with a golden mop. Thank you, Roger Wilco, for cleaning up our galaxy, says Xenon leader. Once a janitor, always a janitor. Well, there we go. We got to the end. This is one of my favorite games of all time. I think it's a great way to start the, let's turn down this a little bit. I'm having trouble even thinking, but, thank the entire human race and the Sarien fleet there. Roger Wilco, Galactic Warrior. Alright, let's get this music off so we can... Alright, so we can just throw in something over top of this little voiceover at the end here. But yeah, it's one of my favorite games of all times. It was one of the first ones that I ever got to the end on, aside from King's Quest 2. When I originally got our first PC, my parents got our first PC. We had Space Quest 1, King's Quest 2 and Police Quest 1. I don't know. I think it was in a package deal that like Radio Shack had given out, like whatever. Like, so they included some software with it as a whole package deal. So I played those extensively. It's an old Tandy. And Space Quest is my favorite game out of those three. I did like the other ones, but this one was really my favorite. I liked space a lot. I still like space a lot. I consider becoming an astronomer, actually, partially because of this game, but can't get a job in that field, so. But I did go through some college astronomy level, to the point of, well, declaring a major. Didn't quite get that far, but did consider it, partially because of this game and Star Trek. Not so much Star Wars, too much magic, This is kind of grounded in that, science-based Star Trek. They do reference Star Trek an awful lot in this, but a lot of Star Trek actually happened after this game, so. Because when this came out, it was still just the original series. So definitely one of my favorite games of all time. I do like some of the sequels more than this one, mainly because the humor element was way more kind of developed, with that Douglas Adams or kind of humor. And I think the world that Space Quest inhabits is actually way more fleshed out than you really would think. Like, just the way Roger Wilco acts around seeing things. His response is just kind of like, yeah, this is just kind of whatever. He doesn't come off as being surprised at various alien bars or whatever. So the world seems way bigger than it actually is. So, and before we close this out, note on Roger Wilco. It's a joke name. It's based on radio protocols. Roger means I understand, and Wilco means I will comply. So Roger Wilco, since you are controlling the character, is a joke. The character understands and will comply to your actions. So it's it's a joke. So, well, I hope you enjoyed watching Space Quest, or our playthrough of it. And we will see you, well, in the next video, whatever that is.
Rocket fuel in my veins, no time to rest. Space Quest Roger Wilco put me to the test. Sarien encounter lasers at my chest. Running from foe, hall can't catch my breath. Pirates of Pestilonu in my ship. Time Rippers got my future in the grip. Next mutation got me on a wild trip. Spinal frontier taking me to the tip. Space Quest, hustling through the stars. Galactic battles drive through solar stars. Laughing in the face of cosmic wars. Space Quest driving in my space cars. Aliens on deck, they telling me lies. Smuggling stardust under cosmic skies. Navigating wormholes, pushing up flies. Gonna be Vohall, watch him meet his demise. Laser guns firing